Tunisia. More than 400 accompanied asylum-seeking children have made it to the Cape Coast of Florida. Further 4,000 adults made the journey successfully from France. Is it now officially a crisis? Kent County Council have said it cannot say
Channel today on 11 boats, with authorities expecting another record-breaking number of people risking their lives to get to
told us they regularly see boats packed with people run out of fuel in the channel. They say it's not the aim of the smugglers to actually get people to UK shores, but simply into British waters.
They want to come here because they're trying. These are people who are refugees. They're asylum seekers. They're running away from persecution, where their lives are at risk.
Yes, but why are they not stopping in France, where they're coming from?
They're not coming from France. They're coming from all parts of the world.
No, they're coming from France. They're coming on boats
coming
from the
via
French
this route would
coast.
never qualify as refugees. I mean, 80% of them are young males.
We told that it is our moral duty to budge up and make space for the rest of the world to come and settle here.
Hello, sir. What country are you from? Hello. Sudan. Are you staying in this hotel for free?
My name's Steve. I've been capturing the footage of migrants being brought in by the Border Force in Dover. On average, the amount of migrants that come in a day is about 100, but if it's choppy weather out there, you're going to get none. But as soon as that weather clears up, you may get more than 100 on that first day to make up for the days that they've missed. Started doing it about a month and a half ago. It might be 2 months now, I can't really remember exactly. But it's like people don't really know what's going on, to be honest. I was talking to my friend about it, and he didn't believe me that they get loaded onto coaches. So on my lunch break, I legged it over, captured the footage, sent it to him. He was like, oh my God, it does actually happen. And then I thought, I'll put it on Twitter so everyone else can see. And then I've been up there every day, basically capturing the footage so everyone can see it. It's been going on since I was a child. Like, I remember migrants coming over from the lorries and the odd one coming over in Dover. It seems to me like most people are not aware of what's happening. So all the while they're not aware, I'm going to carry on recording the footage and putting it out there so it gets into the public domain. My fiance gets a bit annoyed when I get up at like 5:30 in the morning to go out and capture it. But it's got to be done. I've got 3 daughters and I feel like they need to be protected. So I'll get up every morning just to show it. So eventually one day this might stop. Normally when it's happening, you'll see the Border Force vessels over there start getting ready, and then they ship off straight out there. I don't know what the actual port's called. And then within 5 minutes later, a little rib will follow them to bring in the dinghy. And then about 15, 20 minutes later, you see them come back in with about 30 migrants on board. And then they get moored up over there. And then the Border Force will greet them on, and they'll take them up to the rampway and into those blue little huts where they get processed. And then straight onto the coaches, straight to Frontier House, and then into a hotel. And after that, I don't really know. That's about as far as I've got with sussing everything out. I do see women and children, not often. On average, you'll see, for every 20 blokes, you'll see a woman. And for like every 30 blokes, you'll see a child. Pretty Patel sent home 12 yesterday on a plane, and then 15 arrived on a dinghy this morning. At least another 20, 30 arrived after. So that's those 12 that got deported is irrelevant, basically. It's replaced immediately. The Home Office do report children as up to 25 for some ages, but they're not. I wouldn't class a 21-year-old man as a child. I just wouldn't. You've had a couple of people come up here and abuse you for actually recording the footage. They're like, oh, you can't take footage of that, you're a terrorist, you're out of order, blah, blah, blah. And it's just all ridiculous. All I'm doing is standing there with my phone camera, recording what's coming in. And people just accuse you of being God knows what. Even these port staff are not happy with us all here. They're always like tutting and giving it one of those. But it's the only way you're going to get to expose the truth. The media's only going to show you one boat coming in, so we're going to have to show the rest. That's just the way it is. It's always independent press down here, real citizen journalists or freelance photographers. You never actually get the actual BBC or ITV come down, unless they're doing a big day out on the boat, but that happens like once a month, something like that. So not very often they come down. It's mainly just citizen journalists with their phones or a cheap camera. Goes straight onto Twitter, Facebook. Active does is on YouTube, so most platforms get it, but that's about it really. It just gets shared over. This is normally where I stand, because it can sound silly, but I can lean my phone on there because I've got shaky hands, so obviously if I lean my phone on there I'll get much better footage. The police have come over a few times to tell us that we're not allowed to record it, even though it's public property. Well, yeah, public lands. They'll also turn up just as you're in the middle of recording footage, so then all the footage you're taking with them talking over it's no good. So yeah, they seem to do tactics like that. Yeah, there's those tyres that I was on about that they put them in a couple of weeks ago to block the view. Yeah, because if those tyres are not there, you can see straight into the blue huts, where obviously that's where they get processed. So they don't really want you to see that. What I know about the migrants is not a lot really, just like the Border Force don't really know a lot. Some of them do get detained as soon as they come over and get thrown into the back of an immigration van, but I'm guessing they're the ones that have had intelligence on that are dodgy, because the rest of them don't get dragged by their arms and dragged up to the walkway. But I feel like people can't know that these are coming from dangerous countries because they know nothing about them. We don't know who they are at all, so all the people who go, they're fleeing war-torn countries. They may well be fleeing a war-torn country, but we don't know that because we've got no information on them at all, because they chuck their identification away. And to me, someone who chucks their identification away has something to hide, because myself, I'd say, this is me and I need help, rather than, I don't know who I am, can you let me in? I feel like if they need genuine help, I feel like you should help them until they're at the process they can support themselves, and then they should be encouraged to return to their own country to actually actively rebuild. You need to draw a line somewhere, but where? Oh, well, I've been trying to look into the cost of everything. On average, it's something like, my friend worked it out, it's something like 5,800 a year it costs to look after a migrant, but the actual cost of bringing them in, getting them processed and then hotel, I haven't actually figured out that cost yet. I've only found out the cost once they've been processed. So it can't be cheap though. If you've got coaches sat there all day, you've got ambulances at the ready, you've got boats coming in and out, all of those staff need paying for, all the equipment needs paying for, all the food needs paying for. So it can't be a cheap operation at all. I spoke to some of the migrants when they came ashore on the beach near Aycliffe. I just sat down, gave them a fag, offered them a drink, and as soon as I'd done that, they started talking to me and opening up. So I got all their names, asked them how old they were, where they come from, if they had jobs, if they had families over here. Most of them didn't even know they was coming to England, these ones. They came from Belgium and they assumed they was going to Sweden. And they told me they paid $1,500 each and the trafficker was with them, but he escaped. So these people didn't look like wealthy people either. They didn't talk like they was wealthy. They looked scared and they looked worried. And this is the concerning thing. Like, I feel like they're being manipulated, and obviously British people, for instance, don't want migrants over here like illegally, but the people that are coming over, they're kind of having their hand forced to come over by the people traffickers, because they're just getting forced from one camp to another camp to another camp until they hit England, and then they get money. And I'm assuming that one of the persons said that, well, it's a bit broken, so I'm not sure if it's exactly what he said, but he was saying that they don't get anything until they make it to the UK. So even if they come to France, their family back home will not get any help and so on until they get to the UK. And I feel like maybe some of them are threatened to come over or forced to come over, but no one's really looking into that side of things. Everyone's looking at it's happening, but no one's asking why. In that car park opposite the what's it called, the pub, just in front of that ramp's where they keep the dinghies that come in from like the last 2 days, and then they move them right over to there, so they get ready to get loaded up onto lorries, and then that's when they get taken to Whitfield. But last week or so they've been a bit behind and nothing seems to have moved. No one seems to know what auctions they're at or where they're actually getting auctioned or who they're getting sold to. No one seems to know any of those answers. but the same sort of boats are constantly coming over. I keep trying to catch a footage to see if I can get the same boat that's left to see if it's come back over again, but I haven't managed to find it yet. But that's like something I'm looking for, because then you know that they're being sent back to France. But until you can actually capture the evidence, you don't know it. From what I've discovered about the trafficking thing is they watch from Dover, 100% they watch from Dover. I've seen cars, for instance, when we see the runaways at Aycliffe, as soon as I got news that they'd run away, a car was like near me at the time before, and then it disappeared once they started running Aycliffe, which to me seems like his job was to pick up rather than to actually help. But a few of my friends have been followed by people, which we believe to be the actual traffickers, but we have obviously no evidence to prove it is them. And I've myself phoned up the police and reported to one car that was following me for 2 days, and then I've heard nothing of it since. The Dover Port Police didn't even take me serious because I'm one of the people recording. They just thought I was just spreading gossip, but in reality there was a car sat opposite taking pictures of me, so I was taking pictures back at the camera, like back of the car, and I reported it to the police and they weren't even interested, not in the slightest. But the border force are more hostile. They've tried grabbing my phone. I've been barged out of the way, and they make out like they're all friendly, but they're not really. They're doing their job, but people don't realise what job they're actually doing. That's the problem. When they sign up, they're signed up to protect the border, stop drugs coming through, all of that sort of stuff. They didn't sign up to be a taxi service, basically. Until there's actual action to see that it's being stopped, I'm going to cover it, because the media don't seem interested. They came down, they had their couple of days, they caught a couple of pictures of some kids and a baby, but then they're gone. They didn't show any of the footage of the hundreds of men lining up the ramps ready to go onto coaches. They don't show any of that footage. Until they start showing the truth or it's actively stopped, I'm going to have to do this.